Hey, welcome to Everyday Reviews. EV families, get ready for a big one because Hyundai has just dropped their latest addition to the IONIQ family. This is a 3-row, 6 or 7 passenger all-electric vehicle. I give you the IONIQ 9. Before we get into style, a couple things that I've noticed with Hyundai over the past decade or so. When they actually come up with a concept and then the production version comes out, it's uncanny how similar they are. It's almost like the concept version. Sure, we don't have those opposing doors that the 7 did, or their concept 7, but in general, this is more than 90% of what the concept is. Absolutely love that. Sometimes that's definitely not the case. And number 2 is I like how Hyundai makes every model so different. They don't just take one model and scale it up to make it bigger and down, just a larger and smaller version of one vehicle. They make it completely different. For instance, our IONIQ 5, love it, love the design, all edgy, but then you get the IONIQ 6, so streamlined and completely different. And you get the IONIQ 9 here, which once again, all different, but it still has the IONIQ DNA though. One element of the IONIQ DNA that you can't miss is the pixel theme. Yeah, the square little lights. We have them on the IONIQ 5, the IONIQ 6, and now the 9 here. But you know what? They're more than just square lights. By the way, there's probably like over 400 on this IONIQ 9. But there's a story behind this, and we had a chance to talk with Simon from the design team to find out more about these square lights.
What I call the Koreanness wall, which is a wall of images where the Korean designers said, guys, please bring and put on this wall 10 images minimum that for you describes Korea. And probably we had about 2,000 images on the wall. Typography there, fashion design, all these things, architecture, the car story for Korea. And this for me was my entry point to try and understand, okay, how do we see ourselves? And one thing that struck me on that wall was the beauty of the typography of the language. Because it just, I would walk around and look at it, it just looks so different. Yes. All these horizontal lines, vertical lines, circles and squares, it's like, and the words, and so I wanted to research that further. And whilst I was going through it, I realized that, yeah, these 24 letters that make up Hangul were created 600 years ago by King Sejong, who was democratizing the language. And as I looked at them, I was thinking, you know, maybe there's something in that. And there's the alphabet. Maybe there's something in that we can use. So when we started, and one of the designers started clicking and doing stuff with this pixel, I was like, the pixel, the letter M, myum in Korean, is one of the 24 letters in the Korean language. And so that for me was, I think we can use that. And we have done. And that's become our signature for the electric vehicles, the pixel lighting, and we will advance that. It'll become more interactive. It goes from 3D to 2D, and it has a personalization capability with it, but it comes out of a 600-year-old language.
The IONIQ 9 is the largest vehicle in the Hyundai lineup right now, not just in length, but wheelbase as well. And yeah, this is based on the same platform as the Kia EV9. However, the wheelbase is actually 30 millimeters longer. Width is the same, but it's actually a little bit shorter. Now, when we were talking to Simon, it was really interesting about the design of this, because first of all, when you get a 3-row SUV, they're normally not the most aerodynamic vehicles, so that's always a challenge because guess what? People still want to be efficient, especially when you're buying an EV. So this shape here is very, very aerodynamic in the sense that it's like a teardrop, and I kind of say that this is kind of like a land yacht. If you look at a boat and it tapers down, and as Simon actually mentioned, is that if they could actually stretch this vehicle continually for another 12 feet behind, it would be very, very aerodynamic. Think of like a racing helmet for a bicyclist where it's all tapered down. That's kind of like this, but it's like, I'm gonna say, this is a land yacht for sure, but lots of considerations have gone into this. First of all, if you look at this vehicle, there are no antennas. Yeah, nothing sticking up, not even a little bit of a shark fin on the top. They have eliminated that. That's going to improve aerodynamics. They've integrated that into the windows and the rear windows. Everything is nice and flush and simple on here, yet there's a lot to look at. Now on the roof line here, they actually could have made it shorter. They didn't have to make it as tall as it is, but they wanted to give you actually more room and give you that sense of grandness, so it just really goes up high.
The acceleration of that line, we actually pushed higher than we needed to be. The package was lower than this, and we said, no, we want to be more dominant, more SUV-like. So we lifted the roof in this zone so it accelerated. The front driver's head is quite a long way forwards, but the accelerating down again over the third row, making sure we have enough space and this beautiful line. And this is a very aerodynamically efficient line as well. And so it was a real challenge getting the side proportion to work.
We have 21-inch wheels on this top of the line. Now this is the Korean version because we don't get the digital side mirrors. They're pretty cool. Hopefully one day that we will, but we get the regular mirrors. But this will do a drag coefficient of 0.25 with the digital mirrors, 0.26 and a change with the regular mirrors, which is really, really slippery for a 3-row SUV for sure. Also to aid for aerodynamics, this is now equipped with a dual motion air flap. Now the regular IONIQs actually have a single air flap. This actually has two, so it can actually regulate if it doesn't need as much. You can open one flap or both or close both just for better efficiency. There's a 3D underbody and that will move the air more efficiently underneath as well. EVs are heavy. So the IONIQ 9 uses all aluminum fenders and quarter panels for the very first time, further reducing weight. Underneath the hood, you will find a storage tub area. Now this area will be larger if you go for the rear wheel drive. This is the all wheel drive, so it gives you an idea how much room there is. It's actually bigger than our IONIQ 5 for sure. And open up the charge port and you'll see, hey, we have CCS here, but when this is produced, it will come with the NACS, the Tesla charger. Gives you access to like 17,000 superchargers, or they'll give you an adapter so you can use the other chargers as well. So that's really good. Of course, charging speed, hey, 10 to 80%, 24 minutes, really, really quick. Open up the rear. This thing has room. This thing's got a lot of room. You know, if we fold down just the third row alone, you get 1,323 liters of cargo capacity. That's almost the same amount as a small compact SUV with all the seats down. That's how much room you get. So oodles of room. Let's check out inside. Some people might not think Hyundai as a premium brand, but hey, you got to actually sit here and really experience this. This happens to be the calligraphy, but it's a Korean version. When we get ours, it'll be a little bit different, just mainly in terms of seating configurations, whether it's a 6 or 7 passenger. Our calligraphy will only come as a 6 passenger, so we'll get captain seats here. We have a bench seat back here. Speaking of seats, these are leather. They're heated, they're ventilated. Certain markets actually get massaging seats as well. Hyundai is really striving to reduce their carbon footprint, be more sustainable. Like for instance, the carpets are from old fishing nets, even the headliner, they're from plastic bottles, lots of sustainable material, including the leather that you see right here. At the time of recording, I said they were animal leather and later learned it isn't. Seriously, this is next level faux leather. You honestly cannot tell. Up front, we have a dual 12.3-inch display. It's curved. We've seen this in other Hyundai products. It's the latest CCNC with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We have a head-up display. As we mentioned, here are these screens here for the digital side view mirrors. I really wish we could get this. They're 7 inches, by the way. But all the materials and even the shapes that they've used in this vehicle on the exterior and interior really have a lot of inspiration from different things like turbines for the wheels, or if you even see the round circles here. The vents are all very, very thin across the dash. And what Hyundai has also done that I'm a big fan of, thank you Hyundai, is essential functions like volume, for climate control. They have still given you actual hard dials or knobs for that Absolutely love it. I hope they never change, but certain things, like let's say, for instance, you have like this digital panel here. That's fine for heated steering wheel. Of course, if you want to use voice, they have an AI voice system now that you can use. On the steering wheel, you see the 4 dots, which Morse code stand for H. These actually light up for certain things like charging, also depending on what drive mode you're in. Now we get connectivity, USB-Cs everywhere. Now get this, 100-watt output. That will basically charge anything you have, whether it's a laptop or tablet, with a full battery on this IONIQ 9, which has a 110 kilowatt hour battery. You could probably charge your tablet every day for, I think, about 12 years. That's how big the battery, this is one big battery bank that you have. Lots of headroom here. We have a digital mirror. I'm not sure if we're going to get that in North America or not yet. Of course, there's V2L, or vehicle to load, so up to 1900 watts of output. You can power everything that you need for camping, tailgating, or if you need to back up your power for your house in a power outage, you can do that with this IONIQ 9 as well. Now for the middle console, as they call it, the Universal Island 2.0, and I'm going to explain that in a second. We have a fingerprint sensor. We have a wireless charger with a fan to make sure your phone stays cool here. We also have a disinfecting system, just like we see in the Santa Fe, but lots of storage. We have storage up top, we have storage in behind, and since this is 2.0, it's got the best of both worlds. We have the sliding island in our IONIQ 5, and what they've done is they've combined a sliding island, and this bin can be opened either way and slid forward and backwards as well. So perfect if you have a family, you got kids in the back and they want to store some things in the back of here, they can actually use this as well as the front passenger. So let's have a look in the back. The second row, this is important because if you're buying an IONIQ 9, obviously you are going to be transporting people, so it's got to be comfortable. Not only do we have the connectivity with the USB-Cs as we spoke of, we do have heated and ventilated seats in the rear on this calligraphy as well. This actually has an individual climate system for the second and third row, which means that, hey, if you want to use this for maybe some camping or just some entertainment, you can actually just cool this area here and not waste all the energy for the front. But once again, this is the bench seat. These seats do recline and they slide forward and back. Since this is an all-electric platform, nice flat floor here. Check out the headroom that we have. And unlike, let's say, something like the Palisade, which actually has like those dual sunroofs, this actually has a larger panoramic roof, and it opens. We also have sunshades back here, and if we roll the window down, is it gonna go all the way down? And it does, all the way down. My kids will absolutely love that. If you want, fold that down, it's ratcheting, so you can adjust what position that you want, and you can even control the front seat from the rear as well. Maybe you want to use this as a, a car service or something like that. Perfect for that. And of course, you're going to get the range, which we're going to talk about in a second. But look at the design. All the perforations on the panels. This is really, really premium. It is so well done. Remember, this is the production version. This is not a concept. This is exactly how this one is going to come. Third row. To get in the back, one touch. Power slide, doesn't take much at all. A nice large area to get in. Let me close the door here. Room for two back here. And I'm gonna pull the seat back. All right. Okay, this is surprising. First of all, you sit a little bit lower, meaning that you actually have headroom. And I'm surprised at that because with the exterior shape, you think that you're really gonna cut off the top, but maybe it's more of an illusion, especially how they've tapered the windows down here, because I don't find any lack of headroom at all in the third row here. Really, really comfortable. We have power reclining rear seats here. The USB-C, 100 watts there, drink holders, and we have air vents. Once again, this uses a separate system for second and third row than the regular front system. This is going to make a lot of families happy if they are using the third row on a regular occurrence. It's really good. It's actually really surprising. This is my very first time sitting back here. Have to get out, that's it. Hit that button. Okay. And how hard is it to get out by myself? Not hard at all. There are 3 drivetrain options available. You have a rear-wheel drive with 215 horsepower, an all-wheel drive with 303 horsepower, and the all-wheel drive performance. That'll give you 422 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. And that'll make a run to 60 miles an hour in under 5 seconds. Yes, this is a big, heavy 3-row SUV under 5 seconds. Max towing for the all-wheel drive is 5,000 pounds. For the rear-wheel drive, 3,500. For those wondering, are there plans for an IONIQ 9N? Well, it really doesn't make sense. Think about this. This is a 7-passenger people mover, not a sporty canyon carver. A more rugged XRT version would be more in line for this one, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see this trim pop up after launch. Overall, I think Hyundai has really raised the bar with this IONIQ 9, so much so that I think it's getting close to Genesis territory. So I think Genesis is going to have to amp it up to compete with this IONIQ. So now we just have to drive it. There's our first look at the brand new Hyundai IONIQ 9. What do you think? Leave a comment below, or if you have any questions, or you just want to say hi, right down there. I love reading all the comments and questions. And you know what? Next time you see this, hopefully we'll be behind the wheel taking this for a test drive. Till next time, ciao.